Okay, this is a little video on how we do the excellence component when we're changing the objective function in a feasible region. So let's just say this is my feasible region. I've got some inequalities in here. I know what my points of intersection are, so on. And I have an objective function. So what's easy to do with desmos is if this is my objective function, make it equal to capital P. And then what happens is it will show a graph for that objective function, right? But the problem is that you've got a slider, but it doesn't work very well. It doesn't move anywhere. And that's because you're dealing with profits that are quite big. Like, you know, we've got something you've got your profits when you stick your points of intersection in are big, like they're big. So if I was to stick in, I'll just pull up my calculator here, and let's just say I stick in 80 and 40 into my objective function. So 22 times 80 plus 38 times 40 is equal to, so I'm getting very large objective, you know, like a profit of 3,280. So it's not sufficient that my graph just goes, you know, between -10 and 10, which is what these numbers here tell me that this is going to do. So what I do is I click in here. Now I want, say, my profit to go up. I don't know, I'll just pick a big number, 5,000. Whoops, not 50,000, 5,000. And we start at 0 because that's down below. I mean, it doesn't start at 0. You could start it at 20. But I'll just start at 0. And let's see if that works better. So now when I move my slider, oh yeah, that works. It goes all the way up there. So that works. So that's how you get your slider to start, you know, going through the feasible region. And you can see that if I move my objective function, this is the sliding rule thing. This is how it works. As I slide this objective function, this is my original one. It hits that point of intersection right there. It hits that point of intersection right there as I move it through. The one that it hits at last is my maximum. That's my maximum profit right there at that point there. So I know that my 80/40 is my max without having to do any math and just using desmos. Now let's say I change the objective function, because that's what happens in in excellence. Y, plus x plus 80y, just making this up, y is equal to p. Now, I turn this original objective function off, and I still got my slider will now move this new objective function, right? And now that it's done its job and I've got it appropriate, you can see now that what happens here is, see, that's not big enough. 5,000 isn't big enough for this objective function to go all the way through the reason. So I'm going to make it 8,000. And okay, that's good. Now, does it go through? Yeah, it goes through the entire feasible region. And then I can start to see that that purple line is parallel to the blue line, and then I can do the things that I've learned about.